Yeah, I think there's I mean, of course you see this community that's getting more and more popular, bigger and bigger. Of course, the numbers show
Yeah.
that, right? And then you're going to have
Mm-hmm.
people that come in the industry that that don't really care about any of this stuff, and they just kind of
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
at people as like, oh, that guy is this or something
Yeah.
I heard, and
Yeah.
this guy is this, and so it's
Understandable.
yeah, there's no it's when you have too many people in the industry like that, it's that come in with absolutely zero knowledge and no interest. I think that's definitely
Yes.
can cause a lot of problems. Like I said with the Michael Bay thing, like I would never want that guy
Yeah.
to do anything on FGC stuff. Go ahead and
I
do
love that.
Transformers or blow up stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, even the most respected directors, it can take your pick, right? But it's it definitely requires that, and I think the people who do understand are people who do have some interest, and I've met people in the industry who maybe they're not exactly like the most knowledgeable about fighting games and FGC lingo and not great at the games, but I've also seen people who are very who take a big effort to learn about it and be into it as well.
Yes, there are
And
some.
that does make a difference too, because I know not at this stage, not everyone can be like master rank or I guess master doesn't matter anymore. Master 1800 MR in Street Fighter 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
That's doing like the accounts or doing setting up the tables at an event or something, right? It's interesting how this is playing out, and we're kind of in like the late stage of that. And so it's interesting because once again, like you guys cross counters as much as it was kind of like you guys are futurists in a lot of ways. And what's funny is the whole thing with like what was it, like Future Gutex, like that whole
that was the
skit,
best.
like that was
Oh my god.
that was like that kind of symbolizes like what you guys have been kind of talking about and working on the content, because you guys were kind of paving the way. I mean, I remember when you guys were using hitboxes before anyone else, and now I have a hitbox and I'm using that, and leverless being the future and stuff like that. So it's
Shout
very
outs to
interesting.
Oliver, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh, we met him at wasn't he at EVO Japan?
Yeah, he was there
I
too,
briefly
yeah.
saw him. I wish I could have talked to him a little bit more, but
Yeah, he was there.
but I guess so during this time, let me know if this next topic is too many demons. I know you played Bathhouse, recently. I love that game, by the way.
Yeah,
Bathhouse is the best.
But yeah, let me know if it's
I've
like
conquered all my demons.
but I guess there's so Capcom Pro Talk, right? That was I remember Capcom Pro Talk being like, that was like some of the best shit like ever. There's I remember when Flo and K-Brad and you on stage just riffing. And it was like Street Fighter 4 and 5 as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was commercially like a hit too. It was like people were there were numbers. You guys were getting like huge numbers. And the show itself was actually like funny. It was super FGC, 100% FGC humor. It was like it was as real as you can get, but then it was high production values. This shit was like this is like the best kind of gaming content. One of the best pieces of gaming content I've seen. And then of course I guess we know what happened later. It disappeared, right? And so I don't know how much you can reveal about that and what happened, and but that was kind of a shock to a lot of people. It's like, how can something this well done be like not
I was one
like
of the most
gone,
shocked
right?
person of the entire audience, I guess. I had the honor to meet Mike, K-Rad, and Flo when they were doing an episode. I was in the Twitch office.
That's right.
And then
you
I
were
was
just
like,
posted up. That's right.
I was like the biggest fanboy. I'm like, holy crap, I'm here. I'm like watching this, and I had a chat with I believe it was Adam as well, right?
Yeah.
And then I saw the entire behind the scenes. It was awesome, and it was just sad to see one day just poof disappeared. So if there's anything you could share, like
I mean, well, sorry, I guess it's, I mean, where do I start? I don't know where to, like, it's I guess because it's not something I ever really talk about.
Sure.
But I don't know where to start. I guess you could say the concept of it came from I was in talks with Matt Dahlgren from Capcom. I love Matt Dahlgren. He's a goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved his facial expression when Daigo didn't appear on the stage once. That was one of the moments.
Oh yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, I'm about to start up at Twitch, and I'm thinking, what value can I bring to the Capcom Pro Tour? And then I thought, how about I do Capcom Pro Talk, which is a show that will simply gather everybody so they know what the fuck is going on in the Pro Tour, And we'll throw in my little bullshit humor or whatever it is, where how can I have people engage, since I'm supposed to be a pro, which we all know. I mean, in Street Fighter 4, let's be real. I'm fucking nice, okay?
Yes.
In Street Fighter 4,
I heard the stories. I saw the clips.
Let's just be real. Yeah. So, yes, but so I don't know if you remember the very first episode. I was doing it literally in my bedroom. My camera, all my equipment. I remember I asked Alex Valle because he was down the street. I was like, "Yo, Alex, you want to help me out? Something? You want to pull up and do this? Kind of do this shit with me?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, yeah, why not?" So I had Alex Valle with me a few times, like 2 or 3 times in the beginning as well. And this was before I moved to San Francisco. So in the beginning, we were hitting like 1,500, maybe 2,000 viewers live, which is, in my opinion, I'm like, damn, we're reaching the whole world. That's everybody, kind of going crazy with it. And then, once I moved up there, they had a studio at Twitch's office that essentially was not being used, and it was blowing my mind. I'm like, can we use it? Can I use this? And they're like, yeah, sure, fuck it, go ahead. We're not, like, why would you want to use that? Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
So DJ Wheat was doing the first like 2 videos, and then DJ Wheat was like, "Fuck this! I got more important things to do." He always believed. I'm not talking shit, but he's like, "Man, here, Adam, you take over this shit." DJ Wheat's got I got $1 billion meetings to handle, so I respect that.
Hustle, yeah.
And so we're just doing it there on our own time, and it was all Street Fighter 4, mind you. Street Fighter 5 wasn't even essentially talked about when we started this. So all of this was with Street Fighter 4 in mind, knowing all of these players, having traveled already, around and met players literally Australia, right, all over the place, right? I felt like I knew a way where I can kind of create narratives and storylines to make everybody a part of this be essentially a superstar on their own. And that was the point of all of this. And just to let people know who's at the top, who's winning what, who's doing this, who's doing that. Everything was cool, and eventually it started to get better and better and bigger, I guess. And then that's, I just, if I had somebody in my corner to kind of warn me of what happens when things get bigger and better, like I would, maybe I'd still be doing this shit. I don't know, but feeling like completely on my own, I didn't know what the fuck, how to handle this. Now people want to take control over it. I had doing it on my channel. Now I'm being told, all right, we're putting your videos, Pro Talk, behind a paywall. And that defeats everything I've ever stood for. I never wanted to charge people for anything, because I know what it's like to go to an arcade with 1 quarter and try to make it last as long as possible. So if you see it, like the Pro Talk videos are hidden behind paywalls now, so you can't even really watch most of them unless another channel uploaded it. And that shit infuriated me. So I'm like, all right, so we're slowly starting to separate away from the people, and I can't stand for that. It was just so much. So I think we had sponsors wanting to come in, wanting to offer some big money to be part of it, which is all good. Everything was dope. But once Street Fighter 5 came around and was kind of like forced upon people, when Street Fighter 4 did all of the organic growth, it kind of hurt. And I myself, I would have made a lot of money. I probably would be, doing God knows what with whatever co-celebrities and stuff to integrate to keep the machine running. But in my heart, if I don't like the game, people are going to see that through my eyes, and I didn't want to lie to people, So I'd rather be broke and truthful than rich and just a liar. So I said, I got to stop doing this. I can't do it anymore. And they did ask me, even when I left Twitch, Twitch was like all supportive. They're like, can we do you want to just come back like every week just to do the pro talk and keep that going? I was like, I can't, like, my mentality is shot right now. I can't do that. So
yeah. I mean,
that's really why it stopped.
Yeah, it's yeah, it can be scary once you've built something like that, and now it's kind of like, now you have like voices that are telling you, it's got to be like this, you got to do this, and the monetization has to be like this, and you kind of, and this is something that kind of started in your bedroom, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's I can see how that was kind of with the release of Street Fighter V. I think there were a lot of people who, especially the game when it came out, it was in a bad state as well. But then there was also a lot of design choices. I made a video about this, and it's still like the most viewed video, I think, on the Corey Gaming channel. I wish it wasn't. I wish it was like more about like,
that shows that's
like
that's the evidence, right?
Yeah, but it's like So but I mean, it was definitely a concerning thing, because like, yeah, if you played the game, suddenly you're in Street Fighter 4, you have you have all these techniques, and it's the buffer, the input buffer.
Yeah, just
that was kind of like a big one, right?
Execution related stuff.
Yeah, the input buffer was. I think people are still kind of concerned about it today. I think even James Chen made some comments about input buffer, and I'm starting to wonder if this is kind of an old man yells at cloud kind of like complaint about fighting games these days. But I mean, I do think like there's like when you make it more and more lenient, it's kind of like you take a dartboard and then you make the bullseye and the centerpieces all into one color, right? There's this kind of aspect where, and I don't think every fighting game needs to be like to have like really strict inputs.
Not all games
need to have that.
You know?
Like Magic series in like Marvel games, that's not designed to be like strict. You're supposed to do like the ABC shit, right? So, but there's like a lot of there's a lot of simplification. And it was kind of it was kind of a shock, because the game was very different, and it was incomplete at the time, and they were like pushing it on like on many different fronts.
Very forceful.
And like, I mean, I get it. There needs to be like a marketing push to, you got your new game and you got to do things and whatever. But the thing is, they brought the FGC into the fold, right? So it wasn't just like marketing in terms of like, we'll just have this cool commercial and we'll like, do this, make apparel or whatever. It was like, let's get fighting game people and bring them in, and we'll make kind of like a show with it. And so I think that's kind of is a funny moment. It was you remember the Lupe Fiasco, the Daigo match or whatever, the exhibition? Like it was interesting. You're kind of. I remember watching that, being like, okay, this is like a big deal in terms of like, collab, marketing, whatever. And everyone knew it was kind of a marketing stunt. And but then like, Lupe Fiasco would tweet things like, oh, I'm training up to beat Daigo by beating the CPU with only light attacks. And I'm like, okay. I mean, there are people who have been trying to beat Daigo their whole life, like people like Tokido who have cried on camera for not being able to beat Daigo after so many attempts, and then this dude's gonna just like
almost felt like an insult.
Practice against Daigo by beating the CPU with light attacks, right? And I remember that was and I don't know exactly what happened during that whole event. There's it's history now. You can look at, you can watch it.
What happened.
Yeah, but
we know.
But later it was funny, because there was also a clip of, I think Lupe was playing Alex Valle, and Alex Valle was just crushing him, and Alex Valle was just like, I ain't Daigo, man. I ain't Daigo. I ain't Daigo. I remember that clip.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah, it was like the Justin Wong moment. Like, yeah, welcome to the real world. It's just like, whoa. Yeah. It's like, I can't, and